You're watching San Antonio's only live university student-produced newscast, Lakefront Live. Real news for students, all in one place.
Hello, welcome to Lakefront Live. I'm Roxana Rubio.
And I'm Neida, Escamilla. Last Friday, we learned Dr. Bob Biskin resigned from his position as interim executive vice president of the university.
Immediately following, President Sister Jane Ann Slater appointed Dr. Dwayne A. Banks, Dean of the School of Business, to serve as an interim role as Chief Operations Officer. Joining Dr. Banks is Dr. Marquetta Evans, who is the Dean of the School of Professional Studies and the Worden School of Social Service.
She will serve as the interim role of Chief Academic Officer.
Here we are in the studio with President Sister Jane Ann Slater. Thank you for joining us today, Sister.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
Okay. Well, we just had a few questions about the situation that went on last week. And what was your decision-making process to appoint Dr. Evans and Banks into these new positions?
When I arrived in March, neither Dean Evans nor Dean Banks had arrived. However, they had been hired. And I looked at their credentials and their backgrounds, their experience, and they were just phenomenal. And I thought, in the interest of moving forward as quickly as we could from the situation and to get new people in place in the position of operations and academic affairs, that those would be wonderful people to appoint. And so I moved hastily and did that. So the process was pretty much my own in consultation with the members of the President's Council.
What new responsibilities will Dr. Evans and Dr. Banks be given?
They will continue in their roles and their responsibilities as dean. And of course, Dr. Banks will oversee all of the operations of the university. That's everything, academics, plant, budget, everything. I don't want to name all of those. And Dr. Evans, as the Chief Academic Officer, will oversee all of the academic programs. So she will be the person that oversees, works with all of the deans and in keeping those processes and the faculty in keeping everything moving.
In your statement last week, you mentioned the university standing for their core values. How do you plan on helping the community incorporate these values even more every day?
You know, you said even more, and that's a key phrase. I think that our core values of community, integrity, trust, and service are very much part of our very souls, of our way of thinking. And I think that by continuing to move forward in our programs and to be conscious of how we use words and how we deal with one another, the respect that we show, all of those things in moving forward will come out of our core values. So I don't think it's an add-on, I think it's a deepening. And our learning organization community process, in which faculty and staff have been trained as facilitators to facilitate dialogue sessions in which we're able to hold our own expectations and our own ideas about things to have those before us, but not to say that my way is the right way and no one else's way is right. So to dialogue with one another is going to help us in many, many ways in our OLU community.
Now, there's been a lot of articles that have been written because of the audio recording situation. What is your reaction to these articles? More specifically, there was one in the San Antonio Express, Word to the Wise.
Yes. I think that well, first of all, they're out there. The articles are there. So, and there's something we can learn from things that get published. I don't think that everything on TV is correct. You know, some people will tell you, well, I saw it on TV or I got it on the internet, so it must be correct. That's not necessarily true. However, I think when we read anything in the media or listen to anything, we ask ourselves, how does that apply to me? How would I have done that differently? How would I have spoken about that? What would I have said? And I think we're all challenged to take what we read and it's part of our core values, to evaluate our way of responding in the future out of what we learned from what is what has been. So I think it's a learning for all of us, you know.
Definitely. And the university has taken great strides the last 6 months or so. How do we continue to move forward from the incident?
I think that we, as I just said, that we learn from our experiences. You know, our founder, Blessed John Martin Moy, when he started the congregation back in 1762, he sent out young women in rural France alone. Well, you can imagine, some priests and his bishop, young women alone in the countryside, it was unheard of. And so the bishop suspended that for a while, and Moy was heartbroken, but he went to a wise friend, an elderly woman who had helped him prepare these young women to teach. And he said, "What am I going to do? I know this is the right thing." And she said, "Just think of this as a toothing stone." Now, what that means, I'm not sure, but maybe a little thing that children chew on when they cut their teeth. It was you know, something that could have put his idea to end. I think that the fact that we have gone through a really difficult time and we were not derailed by that, because when good is done, very often evil moves in to kind of derail it or stop it or change the course. We have not let that happen. We're going to continue with developing new programs, with raising funds for the university, with connecting with the outside community, and so we're going to move forward as Providence is guiding us. And I'm confident that, I'm very hopeful that that's happening.
It's just a test for us.
A test, a large test, but a test.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dan Yaxel told us in his interview last week that the community needed to come back together to heal. What are your plans to do that?
You know, some of the faculty and deans have said we need to process this in some way. And in fact, I just spoke to Dean Evans just a few minutes ago about how we will proceed with that. To tell you the truth, I don't have a plan in place, but I know that we need to find ways to bring groups together to dialogue. Dialogue would be the way I would want to go, so that we can hear one another and hear ideas and express what we need to say in our own healing process, and to help one another do that. So we will be working to do that, but I really don't know how that will play out just now. It's a little early, but we're going to do it.
Okay. And last, well, the university has received an award this week. Yes. They were voted San Antonio's best university by News for WOAI viewers and readers. What's your reaction to that? Do you think that's one thing that's just in the step to put us back on that path?
I think when the outside community says that we are the best university in the city, that perception is wonderful. And sometimes when you're inside a situation, I don't know this about your own personal life, but sometimes someone tells you, "Oh, you're so honest," or "You're so forthright," or "You're so generous." Sometimes we look at ourselves from the inside and we think, "I don't see myself that way." But when others tell us that, then we rise to the occasion and we move to make that true in ourselves. I think if people, and I know people do, see us as a wonderful institution, a wonderful university learning space, that we have to begin to see ourselves that way, and thank our provident God for making us that and helping us to lead out of that. So I am delighted, and I think the community is very perceptive.
Great. Well, thank you so much for
You're
taking some time out of your busy
You're
schedule to
welcome.
join us.
Thank you for the invitation.
When we come back, we'll take a closer look inside the lives of the founders of the university.
SASports.com provides the best internet coverage of high school sports in all of South Texas. Get all the scores, schedules, and more from area high school sports all in one place at SASports.com. Also get your SASports.com magazine fall issue today at Altex, Cecil Ford of Hondo, BurgerFi, Smile Dental Centers, Mecca Sportswear, and Select Transmissions. Want it delivered to your home? Just email us at jtope@sasports.com. Providing elite coverage to high school sports, SASports.com.
They founded Our Lady of the Lake University, but what do you know about the Congregation of Divine Providence and its sisters?
Shannon Marie has the story.
Here at Our Lady of the Lake University, we have beautiful architecture, rich history, and an excellent staff. But where did it start from? It all started right here at the Congregation of Divine Providence. But what exactly do we know about the sisters and their mission? The Sisters of Divine Providence founded Our Lady of the Lake University in September of 1896. Since the start, the sisters have been helping the community, its students, and the university grow into what we are today. But there is so much more to the sisters as we take a closer look at the everyday lives of its members. Meet Sister Joyce Detzel, one of the newer members of the CDP, and Sister Mary Elizabeth Jupe, who has been a member since 1931, both on a mission to spread God's Word to everyone they meet.
In some ways, I'm amazed that people aren't banging down the doors to get here, because it's such a beautiful way of life.
As Sister Joyce explains, it's all about strengthening your relationship with God.
Ask yourself, are you willing to love God with your entire heart and mind and soul and being? And do you really want to love the world in a way that is passionate, that's caring, that makes a difference, that works with others to bring about justice and goodness? Then I would say there is a beautiful place for you within this congregation. And do not be afraid just because it's not the most popular road.
During her spare time, Sister Joyce enjoys composing and playing her own music. However, Sister Mary Elizabeth has a different take on having fun.
I go to St. Jerome's Senior Citizen Luncheon. And there, every time I meet 4 of my students that I taught at Providence High School, they're senior citizens now. And I always bring a pecan pie. But they don't put that out to serve. What they do with that is that's the main prize for a coverall bingo.
Oh, wow. That's a good prize.
Yeah, and twice I won it. I says, I cannot take it home. The sisters will think nobody wanted to eat it.
Becoming a nun helps Sister Mary Elizabeth to ignite her passion for educating.
Oh, I love teaching. I spent all my spare time getting ready. With the grade school, you had to get so many things ready for them so we wouldn't waste time. And in high school, you had to be prepared to answer any question. So you had to be doubly prepared because they were so eager to learn.
Sister Joyce and Sister Mary Elizabeth explain what they would say to young women who are ready to answer the call of God.
I have a better life now because I do it with others within the context of a God that loves me beyond words.
Because if you don't, it doesn't feel right, it's not for you. You have to have, I always say you have to have that call, and the call is that feeling. You're drawn to it. I think that's probably the first thing.
Although their habits have changed, it doesn't mean their mission has.
I love this congregation. I love the charism that we've been entrusted with, which, is just an amazing thing to be Providence, to be God's love and care and concern in the world today.
Shannon Marie, Lakefront Live.
Congratulations to the 30 students who earned the President's Volunteer Service Award. The White House recognizes students who have completed over 100 hours of community service.
We're making huge differences in many lives, and all these people, share loads of gratitude to our institution. And so I think students who are participating in service not only are able to feel that connection to the community that they're going to school in, but also the difference they're making in people's lives.
Being able to be like, I'm doing this because I want to help everybody. I want to help as many people as I can is a great feeling, whether rather than it being like service learning for class. Well, you're doing it because you have the mentality, oh, it's for class, I have to do it. Service, you don't have to, but knowing that you are is a good feeling because you know that it's going to be benefiting other people.
Today kicks off Alumni Weekend. Some of the events taking place include a wine tasting and a fall drama production. Also, the class of 1963 is celebrating their 15th class reunion during a reception.
From 2:30 to 4, it's kind of scattered throughout campus, so they can go on a tour, they can go visit with their old college, they can go to the bookstore, they can go, this year we're going to add how to manage kind of your student loans, and so they can go ask questions with the financial aid office, and they're going to put on a little program, so lots of different things in the afternoon.
Alumni Weekend continues through tomorrow, and don't forget about Fall Fest also happening in the mall area.
The sisters held a plant sale in Peace Garden as a fundraiser to maintain the garden through the winter season and to take care of the trees.
Well, I had a lot of plants and I wasn't sure what I'd do with in the winter time. Also, I have about 40 young trees back there, so they all need attention, and so whatever funds we have here is used, all goes back to the garden.
Coming up in sports, Martin tells us a shocking resignation in Olu's athletic department.
SASports.com provides the best internet coverage of high school sports in all of South Texas. Get all the scores, schedules, and more from area high school sports all in one place at SASports.com. Also get your SASports.com magazine fall issue today at Altex, Cecil Ford of Hondo, BurgerFi, Smile Dental Centers, Mecca Sportswear, and Select Transmissions. Want it delivered to your home? Just email us at jtope@sasports.com. Providing elite coverage to high school sports, sasports.com.
Now we go to sports with Martin, who tells us what changes are happening in Olu athletics.
Thank you, Neida and Roxana, and welcome Saints fans. It was announced earlier this week that Russell Van Landingham has resigned as men's basketball head coach. He cited personal reason for his departure. Van Landingham coached the first season in 2009-2010, and during his 4 year at Olu, he guided a team to 2 regular season championships and reached the national tournament in 2012. His record as a head coach is 84-45. Assistant Ryan Wall has been named interim head coach for the rest of the season. And the men's basketball team played their first game without former head coach Van Landingham, opening the regular season against former conference rival Texas Wesleyan University, and the Saints won 107-102. Dylan Ellis led the team in scoring with 21 points. The Saints are now 1-2 for the season, playing Mid-America Nazarene University at the Mabee Gymnasium next Friday. Also traveling up Highway 35 to Fort Worth was the women's basketball team. Trailing by 4 points in the end of the first half, the Saints would come back, winning 81-74 over the Rams, and senior transfer Ornella Bacchini led the team in scoring with 17 points in her first game as a Saint. Next up for the women's basketball team is an exhibition game against NCAA Division I Lamar University November 11. Winning the first ever Red River Athletic Conference title after a perfect 6-0 record in conference, the women's soccer team will head to Houston for this year's conference tournament. The Saints will play the Mustangs from the University of the Southwest in the semifinals today at 12:30. And if the Saints win, they will play the championship game Saturday night at 5 p.m. Saints volleyball team travels to Brownsville for their conference tournament, and the team will be playing University of St. Thomas Houston in the quarterfinals today at 2:30. And if the Saints win, they will play University of Texas Brownsville in the semifinal at 7:30 p.m. tonight. That was your look at sports. Back to you guys.
The world's largest beverage company is making changes to its classic soda for its consumers. Coca-Cola announced it will be replacing its key ingredient, cane sugar, in its Mexican Coke made in Mexico. 1 peso per liter is being taxed, and the decision is a response to a new law that hopes to tackle the rising obesity rate in the country. Data in July says that nearly 33% of Mexicans are overweight. No need to panic, Mexican Coke sold in the U.S. will not have the substitute sweetener. A court order to halt demolition of the Univision building in downtown was obtained this week. The Westside Preservation Alliance insisted that this 1955 structure is part of downtown history. Demonstrators hung signs on the fences. One read, "City of San Antonio demolishes our heritage." The building is the former home of KCOR-TV, the first Spanish-language TV station in the nation. The television station relocated to the northwest side earlier this year, and the property was sold to make room for a 350-unit apartment complex. When we come back, we have an exclusive interview and performance from one of San Antonio's local bands.
SASports.com provides the best internet coverage of high school sports in all of South Texas. Get all the scores, schedules, and more from area high school sports all in one place at SASports.com. Also get your SASports.com magazine fall issue today at Altex, Cecil Ford of Hondo, BurgerFi, Smile Dental Centers, Mecca Sportswear, and Select Transmissions. Want it delivered to your home? Just email us at jtope@sasports.com. Providing elite coverage to high school sports, sasports.com.
If you have a story idea, tweet us or post on our Facebook page. Before we go, Shannon has a special guest for a sit-down interview and performance.
Live in the studio is Ready Revolution.
Today we have Ready Revolution. They're going to be performing tomorrow at Fall Fest. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. How did you get the band started?
Well, we were all born, and then we all picked up instruments, and no, I don't know. We were just, we're brothers, and he's our cousin, and we just, I don't know. We were born in a family of music, so it just happened. I'm not really sure how it got started. It just kind of happened.
Well, we're all thankful that it did happen. So your careers are really starting to take off. You played at the Super Bowl in Houston, pre-Grammy Awards in Austin. What has this experience been like for you?
It's humbling and gratifying because, like he said, the hard work we put into it and everything, it's just, it makes us happy that people are actually, coming along for the ride, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, people are actually acknowledging that. I don't know, they like our music and stuff like that, so it just makes everything worthwhile, all the hard work and stuff. And it's really fun.
Well, you definitely have me as a fan.
Oh, thanks. Hope so.
You guys have been performing together at such a young age. What does it feel like to be playing with people that you're so close with?
It's sick, and honestly the coolest thing ever, because every rehearsal, every time we're together, it's just a fun time.
Party.
Party, exactly what I was gonna say.
Even this 8 a.m.
Everyone loves parties.
Oh, I hope so.
Also, you can find their CG, Hangovers, and Heartaches on iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. Well, without further ado, Ready Revolution playing their hit single, Bang Bang Shoot Shoot.
Let's do it, boys.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sleep is good. bang, shoot, shoot. Bang, bang, shoot, shoot. Bang, bang, shoot, shoot. I got a reason with you. You make me crazy too. With all your bang, bang, shoot, shoot. I got bullets to use. Come on and bang, bang, shoot, shoot. Bang, bang, shoot, shoot. Bang, bang, shoot, shoot. I said bang, bang, shoot, shoot. La, 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 la.
Thank you very much.